So if you're anything like me, you have a lot of devices that you're using, from Nintendo Switch to handheld gaming PCs, MacBooks, PCs, and so much more. And the thing is, you're getting tired of carrying around multiple different chargers, video out capability devices, just docks in general. And you kind of want something that's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. And that is why I've highly recommended so much to so many people that they get the AVerMedia Elite Go. This right here is literally everything that I mentioned for multiple devices. My MacBook, for my phones, for my handheld gaming PCs, my Nintendo Switch. It literally is the do everything journeyman Swiss Army device, like literally. And it also has the capability of being a capture card at the same time with dual 100-watt charging capability and a USB 2.0. So if I need to connect any type of accessories, this does it all. 1080p 60 capture. Now, what if you don't need the capture card capability, but you kind of want everything else? Well, that's where AVerMedia has you covered, because if you don't need everything technically the only thing you don't need from this would be the capture card capability, then the Core Go basically is the same exact thing as the Elite Go minus the capture card capability. So that being said, today we're going to be talking about why you pretty much should pick this up as a if you don't need a capture card capability, if you're not a content creator, then this is going to be everything you need. Dual 100-watt charging capability for multiple devices, handheld gaming PCs, Nintendo Switch, as well as your laptops and more. Plus, it also has the capability of doing video out. It's got 4K 60 pass-through, just like the Elite Go does. And should you buy it? That's the question people are going to be asking. Well, yes, I'm just going to cut to the chase here. You should buy this. This is totally worth it. In this video, we're going to go ahead and dive into why you should pick it up with more detail than what this opening is. And with that being said, shout out to AVerMedia for sending this over to me. And let's go ahead and get into the rest of the review. So as someone who's constantly on the go out here in Honolulu, Hawaii, I always have multiple devices on me that I need to constantly be, getting topped up. Whether it's wireless microphones, I'm also a dual phone user. I've got an iPhone 16 Pro. I've also got a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Also got an iPad Mini 7, and I've also got a MacBook Air M3, as well as a gaming laptop from Lenovo. Shout out to Lenovo for sending it over to me, and many handheld gaming PCs, as well as Nintendo Switch. So I've got a lot of devices that I carry around with me, and honestly, trying to make sure I've got specific chargers or whatever their stock, OEM device chargers with me is a bit of a pain. So being able to carry this right here, which is the AVerMedia Elite Go, this right here has just been the do everything that I need, right? I literally, if I'm traveling around the island or if I'm traveling, stateside or internationally, this is the device that's coming with me. Now, the benefit of having this with me is the fact that it allows me to have a capture card functionality, because I can also just run this, one of the USB ports into my PC or my Mac and be able to capture content on the go. So if I need to capture Nintendo Switch stuff, or if I need to capture stuff from my handheld gaming PCs, then this is what I'm going to need to have with me. Plus, it also helps that this has a triple charging capability to 100-watt chargers, plus you've got the USB-A, which allows you to do another charge. I'm not going to say it's 100-watt charging out of that, but it's still sufficient to top up whatever you need. Now, that's great. However, when I am traveling a lot, the last thing I'm doing is needing to capture content from my Switch or from my handheld gaming PC, which is where the Core Go comes in. It is literally the exact same thing as this, minus the capability of being able to capture from my Switch or handheld gaming PCs or even from my smartphones, but it gives me everything else that this has. So if I needed, triple charging, well, hey, it's got the same thing. It can do that. If I need the dual 100-watt charging ports on it, it has that as well. This right here just literally is, honestly, I think, while a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the Elite Go, I personally think the Core Go is pretty much the bread and butter that anyone is going to want. So this is not something that I'm going to say is specifically only something that, you know, if you are a content creator, you're going to want. I can see this being a device that doesn't matter what you do. This has universality to it. So if you are not only a content creator, if you're a working business professional, you're someone who travels a lot, right? Or if you're like me, you've got kids running around the house. I mean, yes, I'm also a content creator, but if you have a lot of kids running around the house or pets or anything, sometimes it's hard to keep up with, you know, hey, I need just a universal charging brick that can charge multiple devices at once, you know, or you're in a position where I don't have a lot of ports, but I need to, you know, if I got a charging brick, right? Not really a charging brick, a charging strip, and I don't have a lot of ports, but I need to charge up to 3 devices, then this is going to be the thing that you're going to want to use with you. And I've been using this for the last month non-stop everywhere I've gone. Like, if you guys know, I was at WrestleMania 41. I went there, I got, you know, flown out there. I went over and I did the thing there, and front row, had a lot of fun being there. It was amazing. So the thing is, I didn't want to take a lot of stuff with me. I didn't want to take a lot of chargers. I had my MacBook, I had my 2 phones, and I had my Nintendo Switch with me. So I was like, hey, you know, that's 4 devices, but I also don't want to carry 4 different chargers, especially when you're going through TSA. It can be a bit of a pain, you know what I mean? So having this with me has just been such a game changer, right? And it literally, everything I need to top up, and it tops it up quickly, especially the 200-watt charging ports. So being able to charge up my iPhone 16 Pro, my S25 Ultra, my MacBook Air M3, as well as my Nintendo Switch has been great. And another thing too, like if you also have retro gaming handhelds like me, I personally love a lot of the retro handhelds that are out there on the market. One of my favorite ones being the Analog Pocket. This is able to top that up. Now, there are going to be people who are like, hey, Mekel, talk about the specifications, the dimensions, and all this other stuff. I could do that. I literally could do that. But if you really want the specifications of that, then go check out the review that I did for the Elite Go, because honestly, there's really there's a negligible difference between the two other than the capture, you know, the FHD or full HD capture capability that this has and this doesn't. So I don't see the point in really going over all that again, if you catch my drift. But nonetheless, this being the power brick that it is, right? So we're so used to, like, if you go to different stores like Best Buy, Amazon, you know, you can find Ugreen and other companies that make power charging bricks very similar to this. This isn't the first of its type. Like, these 2 devices are not the first of their kind to be able to offer you that type of functionality when it comes to charging and video out. There are other companies that have made devices like this well before these hit the market, but a lot of them have been limited to either 45 watts or 65 watts, right? And typically it's only 1 port that are on there. So as I can tell you, like, Nintendo Switch has had many third-party ones from Insignia and many other companies that have made them over the last 8 years. And also Asus actually made one for the ROG Ally specifically, which was 65 watts, and that gave you the capability of having 1 dedicated USB port, USB-A 2.0, and giving you video out for 4K at 60 frames per second, which is great. This can do 4K 60 pass-through as well. Now, I want to say that the one thing that I do wish that this had would be a second USB port. That's the only downside that I can see to this device right here, is that, hey, you know, if you're using a Nintendo Switch or you're using a handheld gaming PC and you want the capability of having, you know, another USB port, because maybe you're using the USB port here, the USB-A 2.0 port for using your keyboard, but maybe you want to have one to not only use the keyboard but also be able to use a mouse, or maybe you want to have one to be able to use a microphone or webcam or whatever have you, and you're limited to only the 1 port. Now, you could potentially use a multi-port. I can't say that that's something that I personally tried because, well, I haven't. But nonetheless, it is something that is, you know, there is a possibility that you could use that. So Am I going to test that out? No, because I don't have any multi ports with me to be able to do that. But I do see that as something that could be potentially for some people a bit of a deal breaker. But all that being said, though, I think for what this is, for the fact that we're getting to a point when it comes to technology that we want to have things to be as condensed as possible, to be able to have multifunctionality and the smallest form factors that are possible, you really can't go wrong with something like this. The AVerMedia, either the Core Go here, or if you want to go with the Elite Go. Either one of these is going to give you the capability of being able to utilize it for your needs. Charging multiple devices, being able to have a port available for using with other devices, like if you want, like I said, to use a keyboard or mouse, or if you want to use, directly plug in a controller, that's another functionality of it. Or if you want to, connect a mouse, but not a mouse, a camera or something like that, you can do that with this one port. Also, having 4K 60 pass-through is also great. It's just universality of using one device like this is what more can you ask for, right? It is literally everything that someone like me personally, and honestly, I think someone like you, if you're watching, you made it to this point in the video, please say, hey, I acknowledge in the chat, right? If you're wondering why is he saying acknowledge, I mean, I have my Ufala and also I am Samoan as well. But nonetheless, I think that this could be definitely something that a lot of people are going to find a lot of value in. And yes, my ring light just got brighter, so yes, the screen got brighter. But nonetheless, all that being said, this is dope. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below, if this is something you're willing to pick up, or if you've already picked it up, or if you're considering the other option being the Elite Go for the capture capability. Let me know. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. With that being said, huge shout out to AVerMedia for sending over the Elite Go and the Core Go, because these are two amazing devices and ones I highly, highly, highly recommend. No, they're not paying me to say this. This is just, it's kind of weird. We're in a day and age where we have to tell people, no, we're not getting paid to say stuff. But if we are getting paid to say something, we have to, per FCC regulation, it has to be at the start of the video, and it also pops up on the screen. So anyone who's asking, oh, are you being paid to say this, and not really paying attention to whether it pops up on the screen or if it's in the description, kind of weird. I don't know. Little tangent, little rant is just, people on the internet are just comfortable saying anything these days that they'd never say to you to your face. So I know, a little tangent I went on. It is what it is. Never mind that. But talking about this, you want to pick it up, links will be in the description down below. You can get it from AVerMedia directly, or you can get it from Amazon, and links and everything will be down below. All that being said, hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Have aloha, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, and hui hou.